The meaning of labor. Recently, I spent some time with a former student of mine, Stephen. He worked for a large bank and had been devoting himself to an important project. He'd been working hard on a big presentation. He had researched data, created attractive, appealing visual aids, and spent many late nights at the office. Proud of the outcome of all his hard work, Stephen sent the final presentation to his boss. However, just a few hours later, Stephen got a disappointing email from his boss. The email read, "I'm very sorry, but I've just heard that the project is going to be canceled. Anyway, this presentation is very impressive. I know you worked hard, and you did a good job." Stephen said that wasn't the first time that his employer had done something like that. Stephen knew that although his hard work was ultimately useless, it was not his fault. His work had impressed the boss, and he had received praise for his efforts. However, he couldn't help but feel frustrated. The experience of working so hard without any apparent outcome had changed the way he felt about his job. He quickly went from feeling happy and useful to feeling dissatisfied and useless. Stephen said,
"It's bizarre. I worked hard and created really eye-catching slides. My boss gave me compliments, saying that he was satisfied with my work. I know that I will receive a great review and probably get a raise at the end of the year. Obviously, I should be happy, but I can't shake the feeling that my work is basically meaningless. What if the project I'm working on next gets canceled too?"
Listening to Stephen made me reflect on a story about my sister Devra. As a book editor, she finished editing a magazine. She enjoyed the work and got paid for it. She sent her finished work to the publishing house, but the head editor decided not to print the book for some reason. My sister was frustrated, knowing that no one would ever read the book she had worked hard on. She regretted having put so much time into it. These stories about Stephen and Devra made me think about the meaning of labor. The concept of Contra freeloading. Thinking about this subject led me to wonder how animals consider work. When I started researching, I encountered the concept of Contra freeloading. Animal psychologist Glenn Jensen created the term to describe how many animals prefer to earn a meal rather than simply eat freely accessible food. Through his research in the 1960s, he learned about animals' interest in work. In his experiment, a rat was set in a cage and trained to press a bar. When it did, it would receive food. The rat pressed the bar again for more food and ate merrily. But then, the light in the lab would go off and food would not come out anymore. The rat realized that food would not be released when the light was not on. Then the researcher opened the cage and placed a cup of food in it. At first, the rat appeared uninterested in the cup, expecting that pressing the bar would bring food again. But its wish would not come true. Walking around the cage in frustration, the rat finally noticed the cup of food. When it went over to it, the light suddenly came back on. At this point, the rat had to make a choice. It could lazily eat the food in the cup or work to acquire food by pressing the bar. Which option do you think the rat found appealing? Almost all of the rats in Jensen's study, about 200, chose to neglect the free food. Instead, they returned to the bar and pressed it again. Similar to the rats, Jensen later discovered that many animals, such as fish, birds, monkeys, and chimpanzees, favored working for their food more than doing nothing for it. They all chose to earn their food rather than get it without any effort. The results from Jensen's studies seemed to contradict the accepted theories of economists at the time. According to them, individuals always pursue the greatest reward with the least effort. For animals like Jensen's rats, spending any energy is a form of cost. So why would they spend more energy when they didn't have to? Why did the rats work when they could have had the same food for free? The case of the rats suggests the meaning of labor to us. We set objectives for ourselves and our work. We expect a rewarding result, and we hope that our efforts will be recognized upon completion. Doing work we find worthwhile, we not only fulfill our material desires, but also earn a sense of pride, well-being, and a feeling of accomplishment.